What's up, y'all? Today I want to talk about a documentary that I had the pleasure of watching called Last Chance High. What this documentary does is it chronicles the lives of 4 high school students who have been deemed unteachable by the Chicago public school system because of mental issues, behavior issues, or their unwillingness to learn. Now, the sole purpose of this school is to reform the students and transition them back to public high school. But the sad reality is most of these students will never ever make it back to public high school. And what's even sadder is most of these students won't even graduate from high school at all. Because in my personal opinion, what the school system does not understand is that it's not so much the student's school life that determines the success, but it's the student's home life that determines the success. And in any inner city, the home life of these students is in shambles. The mother or the father is on drugs, or the mother or the father is not there. A lot of times it's single mothers who have multiple children who do not have the time or the patience to spend time on one child, the one child that deserves their time the most because they have so many children and they gotta spread their time out equally. That's just life. That's just the way their life is at home. So a lot of times when they get to school, all they can do is show out. All they can do is act out because that's the only way that they can show the little power that they think they have is to bully or to make somebody else feel smaller than they already feel. These students can do more. They can be more. They just have to want more. But the reality is their neighborhoods are full of death and destruction. Nobody's pumping hope into these kids. Nobody's telling these kids to dream. So they go to this school and all they do is they disrespect the teachers. They threaten the teachers. They threaten other students. I watched this documentary and I was appalled by the way these students were talking to these teachers as if these teachers were children. It was crazy. You had this one little boy who sat on a bus and he literally put his hands on a female. He put his hands on this girl like this girl was a guy. Cursed at her, called all kind of names. Now, that is a direct reflection of not having a father at home. That is a direct reflection of a man not being able to tell him you do not hit young girls. You do not put your hands on a female. So this young boy, you know where he's going to end up. He's going to end up in jail. He's going to end up dead. Something bad is going to happen to this young boy unless a miracle comes into his life. And this same young boy is supposed to be taking medicine. And the teacher said to his mom, I don't believe in medicating children, but your son needs medicine. She said, your son is like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Your son is so aggressive that it makes no sense. Now, this is the same little boy who said his baby sister was beaten to death. His older brother was shot dead. This is the same little boy who said his dad was in jail for 86 years for murder. So ask yourself, what does this kid have to look up to? Everything around him is broken. Everything. His mom has multiple children and she cannot devote time to him. He's the one child that needs her attention more than anything, but she cannot give him all her time. And that's the sad reality of his life. So what does he do? He goes to school and he acts up. That's all he knows. So it's time for the community to step up. It's time for the black men in that community to step up and say, look, young man, we're going to take you under our wings. It's time for them to mentor him. It is no excuse if he does not succeed. There are too many successful men in this world, in this country, to allow this young man to not succeed. All he needs is help. We need to get back to being a community because if we don't, we're going to continue to have young boys, young girls out here lost. There was a teacher who spoke and she said it's so sad, it's so disheartening because she sees the potential in these kids. But the sad reality is, unless some type of divine intervention comes into play, for most of these kids, their life is over. These kids' destiny is already determined. It is determined that the young boys are going to drop out of high school, become drug dealers, kill or be killed, and be incarcerated. It is already determined that the young girls are going to either get pregnant, drop out of high school, become single mothers, and get on the welfare system. It's already determined that these people are going to become people who depend on the government for the rest of their lives. We have to do better. We have to. We have to because they are disabled mentally. They are mentally disabled. Not physically, but they are mentally disabled. We have to get back to pointing our kids and bridging the gap. Stop talking down to them, but talk to them. We have to do what we have to do to survive because if we don't, we're going to create a generation where nobody respects nobody. We have to do it and we have to do it now. Real talk. I'm out.